Summer is here in Hanover. It's hot. Today will be about 34 34 Grad. And I'm not excited about it. I don't like the heat. And so this video is all about complaining about the weather. Now, this seems to be a very German stereotype. Real quick. What is this thing? Anyway, just a couple months ago, I made a video right over there in that spot, talking about police, and people thought it was a bike. Watch. Where are the bikes? Everyone thought that I was sitting in a bike path. But look, the bike path goes down, not where I was sitting. Either way, later today, that'll probably be packed full of people. But I want to talk about complaining about the weather. I'm going to come back over here in the shade, in the shadow, because I don't like it. I'll talk about complaining about the weather because this is something that the Germans do a lot. But I also want to talk about 3 of the major places I lived in the US. Wisconsin, Florida, and Missouri. Because these 3 places had very greatly different climates. But before I talk about that, and before I go deeper into talking about people complaining, because I've got a little surprise for you all. You Germans that think that this is a special stereotype, it's not so special. But for that, I'm gonna go sit in a spot that's a bit cooler. In my opinion, the best spot on a hot day like this, a best spot for cool air, to feel cool. And I'm not talking about sitting in the canal. So, just a moment. So, best spot in Hanover for cool air, the underground stations. But no, seriously, like the cold air that blows in and through here, like there's a cool breeze blowing the entire time. Now at the moment, this is probably not the best. I could go further down the line, like I'm at Waterloo, and if you know this, then you know, like, the next stop is above ground. So, like, we could go further in and closer to the city. The air moving should be a bit cooler. But, yeah, I'm not joking. This is, like, it feels good. And at the moment, like the metal seats are nice and cool. I like it. Oh, so, I want to tell you some things. So, complaining about the weather. Germans are not the only ones that complain about the weather.
Linie 9, Empelde.
Yep, pause it. Should I film with a mask on? Probably not. But maybe I have to. Anyway, someone just walked by and said I've got a cool stativ. So thank you, dude. I'm gonna have a lot of problems with the trains coming through regularly. Although that one's a bit quiet. So, I've got some numbers. Germans like numbers. Complain about the weather, but you like numbers. So, talking about 3 places where I've lived. Wisconsin, Florida, Missouri. Like right now, today, In Hanover, it's 34. 34 Grad Celsius equals about 93 Fahrenheit, to give you an idea. And I'm going to start with Wisconsin. Wisconsin can get very cold, and it'll also get really hot in the summer. Like by hot, what I mean is while I lived there, I experienced 110 Fahrenheit, which is 43 Celsius. And in the winter, minus 60, it's minus 51 Celsius. So that's a 94 degrees difference in Celsius. So that's quite a lot. A lot of people walking by when the train comes. But there's more air moving here than there is outside. So I don't think it matters too much. Anyway, yeah, so Wisconsin, just talking about the temperature only. Like the hottest days have, like, it gets humid. So yeah, 43 with a heat index, minus 51 with the wind chill. That's a pretty damn drastic temperature change. And Florida, the difference is actually quite similar to Hanover. Like a friend of mine from South Africa pointed out yesterday that Hanover's got like a 50-degree shift in temperature, and I was like, oh, that's nothing. But actually Florida is about the same. Like the hottest, let's say like 40 degrees Celsius, about little over 100 degrees. And like some cold days, I remember some cold days in the winter, like in the mid-teens Fahrenheit, so minus 10 Celsius. Colder than you think it would get. But now, Missouri, the older train cars make much more noise. I really hope that's not so bad. Anyway, so Florida was just hot, like 9 months of the year. It was just doesn't cool down. The temperature is very consistent. So like it's just unbearable. I hated it. Like 9 months out of the year, you don't want to go outside. You want to sit in air conditioning, which is why I like feeling the air moving, because I relate that to dealing with the heat. I know Germans don't like it, but Missouri, the worst winter, like not so much for the temperature, but like the snowstorm, the worst snowstorm I've ever experienced was in Missouri. Now, Missouri is a bit southern and in the middle of the U.S., but it's the only place I've ever lived where in traffic we really got stuck in snow, because it came down real heavy, real fast, and no one knew how to drive, and the streets were a mess. But also the summer. God, the summer was so hot and so humid, worse than anything I felt in Florida. Literally on my notes, I wrote Missouri, hell. Because that's what it felt like. But now that you have an idea what some of the weather is like that I lived with in the US, I can say that everybody complains. All over, everyone complains about the weather. So this is not a German thing. Like either too hot or too cold. I don't care where you go, because no place is paradise. You can find your paradise, but everybody complains. Everyone complains about the weather. So this is not a German thing. And I'll smash that stereotype. No, because that's a people stereotype. Everybody, everywhere does it. So, sorry to burst your bubble. Nothing special. So in the meantime, it's hot. I hope that you all are either enjoying it or finding a way to keep cool, because at least here in Hanover, it doesn't last. Next week will be rainy and a bit cool again. So, so next week, everyone will be complaining about the rain. And so it goes. Okay, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and subscribing, clicking the like, commenting. The Trinkgeld link is down below, and bis nächste Mal. Cheers. One thing I'll add real quick is that most of the underground stations in Hanover have got something unique. Like here at Waterloo, it's loaded with history timeline. Like you can see, I don't know when it starts. There's 1872. Okay, the other side goes older. But yeah, like on all of these, there's a lot of information, lots of history. So that's just Waterloo. Each spot's got something different. So pay attention to that. If you're ever in Hanover, or if you are in Hanover and not paying attention, you'd learn something while you're waiting for the train.